Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. What if I told you that some of the most meticulously crafted, highly engineered storytelling in the world right now takes less time to consume than it does to tie your shoe? Today we're going to look at a seemingly simple script for a short-form piece of content called The Case of the Missing Cookie. Now, on the surface, it's just a quick joke about a baby and a cat, right? But beneath that surface, it is an absolute masterclass in digital storytelling, micro-pacing, and audience psychology. We're going to break down every single second of this thing to understand exactly how modern viral content captures and, more importantly, holds our attention. Okay, let's dive into this. We are going to methodically dissect the architecture of this short from hook to hashtag. We'll cover the anatomy of a viral script, the 5-second hook, the conflict and the twist, the engagement call to action, and finally, the algorithm strategy. All right, Section 1, the anatomy of a viral script. To truly appreciate the rapid-fire mechanics of modern viral content, we actually need to drastically slow down for a second and look at the skeleton holding this whole story together. 30. That is the maximum number of seconds this entire narrative runs. Just 30 seconds. I mean, think about your own scrolling habits on your phone for a minute. Think about how fast your thumb moves when you're just mindlessly swiping through a feed. 30 seconds is an absolute eternity if the content is boring, but it's an incredibly tiny window to establish characters, introduce a conflict, deliver a climax, and ask for audience participation. Literally every single microsecond has to earn its keep. Now, what's really interesting about this is the rigid, almost mathematical pacing of the narrative. Look at these micro-pacing intervals. 0 to 5 seconds, we get the mystery. 5 to 10 seconds, the suspect. 10 to 15, the accusation. 15 to 20, the deflection. And 20 to 25 seconds, the resolution. The script moves forward in these perfect, unyielding 5-second blocks. There is not a single wasted frame here. It's actively training the viewer's brain to expect a brand new piece of information the exact moment their attention might otherwise start to wander. Let's walk through this structural breakdown together. Notice just how densely packed the characters and visual props are. In the very first 5 seconds, we introduce our protagonist, the baby, and the inciting incident, the missing cookie. Bam! By second 10, we've got our antagonist, the cat, complete with visual evidence of crumbs. And the dialogue and action are perfectly synced up with visual emoji props too, like the cookie, the cat, the teddy bear, and that crying laughing face. These elements are introduced exactly when they're needed to ensure you never have to guess what's going on. The cognitive load on the audience is kept incredibly low, which makes it practically effortless to just sit back and consume. Moving right along to Section 2, the 5-second hook. You know, in the world of short-form content, those first 5 seconds are absolutely everything. It's that critical window where you subconsciously decide to either keep watching or just scroll away. And this script begins with a baby asking a super simple question: who ate my cookie? This is honestly brilliant in its simplicity. Within just 4 spoken words, it instantly establishes a mystery and the central conflict. It demands an answer. And as humans, we're naturally curious creatures, right? When a question is posed right at the jump, our brains subconsciously want to stick around just long enough to find out the answer. But watch how insanely fast this escalates. By scene 3, just 10 seconds in, the baby points and says, "It was you." Notice how incredibly efficient this dialogue is. We jump from an open-ended mystery directly to a heated accusation in mere seconds. There's no drawn-out, boring investigation. The script gives the audience exactly what they want, which is escalating conflict, and it does it at breakneck speed. So the crucial point is how the script handles the space between those two quotes. It doesn't just rely on dialogue to bridge the gap. Instead, it uses that 5 to 10 second block for visual comedy. We get the silent reveal of the cat hiding behind the sofa with cookie crumbs all over its face, paired perfectly with the crying, laughing cat's emoji. So the script actually answers the mystery for the audience before the baby even makes the accusation. We're let in on the joke early, which makes watching that impending accusation unfold so much more engaging. Which brings us to Section 3, conflict and the twist. Okay, so we're now in the middle of our microscript, where the narrative tension takes a major pivot. When you're working with a 30-second format, you have to treat the action with the gravity of a massive cinematic plot twist. Right around the 15 to 20-second mark, we get this fantastic piece of dramatic irony. On one side, we have this clearly guilty, crump-faced cat, audaciously shaking its head and actually pointing a paw. And on the other side, we have the teddy bear, an inanimate, silent, and completely innocent object that is actively being framed for the crime. It's completely absurd, it's highly visual, and it totally subverts our expectations. I mean, you expect a guilty cat to run away, you definitely don't expect it to pin the crime on a stuffed animal. And this brilliantly illustrates the narrative resolution. In the final seconds of the story itself, the framed teddy bear inexplicably falls over, and the baby just bursts out laughing. This physical comedy of the falling bear acts as the ultimate visual punchline. It immediately releases all that tension from the accusation and provides this really joyful, satisfying emotional payoff. Think about it. In just 25 seconds, we've gone from a mystery to tension to sheer absurdity, all the way to a joyful resolution.
All right, let's look at section 4, the engagement call to action.
Because, you see, the story might be over, but the script certainly isn't. This next block is where we see things shift entirely from just telling a cute story to actively hacking viewer behavior. The ending slaps this text on screen asking, "Should baby forgive the cat? Comment yes or no," paired with a little heart emoji. Guys, this is not just a polite question. This specific binary setup is a psychological trap. It completely removes the friction from commenting. The viewer doesn't have to sit there and think up a clever, witty response. They just have to type 2 or 3 letters. It's designed specifically to convert passive viewers into active commenters, driving up those engagement metrics, which screams to the platform that this content is highly interactive.
Finally, section 5, hashtags and algorithm strategy.
Let's move over and see how this builds a massive net to catch viewers. Below the visual story, completely invisible to the actual narrative, but totally essential to its survival, is a hidden language designed exclusively to feed the algorithm. We've got tags like shorts, funny cat, cute baby, viral video, kids fun, funny animals, and trending. These are definitely not just decorative flair. They are targeting highly specific, high-traffic audiences. The creator is literally telling the algorithm exactly who this content is for. People who like cats, people who like babies, and people looking for a quick laugh. It pretty much guarantees this short is served to the exact demographics most likely to answer that yes or no question we just talked about. So if we pull back for a second, we can summarize the underlying formula of this microscript into 3 very distinct steps. Step 1, establish a mystery in the very first 5 seconds to hook the viewer. Step 2, deliver visual comedy and a wild narrative twist to hold their attention right through the middle. And step 3, trigger the platform's algorithm with a direct, low-friction call to action and highly targeted metadata tags. This proves exactly how calculated and deliberate viral digital storytelling actually is. It is absolutely a science, just as much as it is an art. What seems like a spontaneous, silly little moment between a baby and a pet is actually a tightly woven net designed to capture your attention and your engagement. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'm actually going to turn the script's final psychological trap right back onto you, taking a page directly from their incredibly effective playbook. Looking at the evidence we've just uncovered, should baby forgive the cat? Comment yes or no. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I will catch you in the next explainer.